If I'm on the back entry of my house, you know this is going to be another garden video. So yeah, I know it's not August yet, but there's a few things going on out there I think are worth looking at. So let's go take a look. This is something I just tried out today. This is a garden hose running all the way across the yard. I need to find a more elegant solution for hiding the hose so I don't trip over it someday, but I'll show you what it's all about. I decided to experiment with soaker hose. So we'll start at the south end of the garden. I just put this in today, so hasn't had a whole lot of time to work. But I buried soaker hose under the mulch, and check out the soil. And look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, it is soaked. When I ran the soaker hose, it kind of looked like it had condensation on it. But it sure soaked into the soil. I mean, it's so deep. So I ran soaker hose. Let me step back so you can see it. Over the first two beds of the garden. So there's a 50-foot bit of soaker hose in the first one, 50-foot bit in the second one, and that was enough. They say not to use soaker hose more than 100 feet, so it works. But now I'm thinking, I wonder if I can get some more soaker hose for the rest of the garden, because I am so impressed by how that worked. 20 minutes of watering, you saw how that soaked in. You know, if I do soaker hose, I'll probably have to water this by hand, but whatever. So let's start in the south side. Everything's struggling. We're in a drought here. It did have a thunderstorm Saturday night, but it didn't put down much water here. They're flowering. Here, they're growing. They're not thrilled with life. I do have a few tomatoes. I have picked a few cherry tomatoes here, so that's been awesome. I think the soaker hose would be good for this little fella, because when I try and water him, the water just kind of runs off, because, it's kind of a hillside. So, yeah, that'll be neat. I looped the soaker hose around these two zucchini plants. Actually, I should film one of these in the morning sometime, because I love zucchini flowers. Look at that! Little fella's starting to grow. Keep these beans in mind. I'm going to show you some beans out front that don't look nearly so good. Definitely a soil issue with the front of the house. Here is two of my eggplants. I grew eggplants just kind of for fun a few years ago, and I love them. There's a little, let's see if I can show them to you. There's a cute little baby, hit the focus button. Cute little baby eggplant getting started. Oh, there's another one. Can't get my camera on him. Flowers. These are awesome. Love eggplant. Alright, let's walk back the peppers a bit. I wove the soaker hose kind of around the bases of all these plants. I did it today as I filmed this, so, any growth you see, don't blame the soaker hose, please. Or do? I don't know. But I see my banana peppers that I planted. I wish I would have kept the tags for the peppers by them, and I didn't, and I'm sorry, because I know I planted several exotic peppers. Here's a cool focus green pepper. Let's lift up this, yeah. And not store-bought size or anything, but he's decent. There you can see a little bit of the soaker hose. I know there's some hot peppers down here. But anyway, so exciting. Actually, I have some tomatoes to pick too, so that's exciting too. More eggplant. My watermelon is just taking off. It's invading my path even. So let's send it back. My goal was to shade with it. Actually, was this one. This watermelon, check this out. Yeah, I actually have a watermelon growing. So far this flower hasn't flowered. It's what they call a mosquito plant. And I can't remember if that is a cucumber or if that is a cantaloupe, but whatevs. The rhubarb has recovered nicely. I mentioned there was a very nice older lady who harvested a bunch of rhubarb off of it, and it is recovered. It's back to being a bush. Here, oh, I see a weed. I let the weeds go in the paths more than I should probably, but I don't want them growing by the plants. And I dusted this last week, but the dust came off in the thunderstorm. But check it out. Got a little cauliflower going on there. So more weeds. This is what happens when you're away for 2 weeks and you're sick in the middle of it. Oops, that weed broke off. So, pull a few weeds here. But yeah, cauliflower. I know I planted them all together, so I know this is all cauliflower together. And I have broccoli in here and Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts have been slow. I'm pretty sure this is a cantaloupe. Over here, there was okra in here, but the okra died. That was depressing, and I can't remember what that is. But it looks very cantaloupe-like, so we'll go with that. Beets. There's supposed to be a whole bunch of beets here. A row there, and another row over here. And you can see how that turned out. What a rotten year. So, next year I'm going to have the soaker hoses out right away. This is carrots. I need to thin them a little. I've thinned a few, but I feel so bad doing it. And then, hey, what Swiss chard did come up is doing amazing, so that's cool. Asparagus. No good this year, but give it a year or two and that'll be awesome. Over here, yeah, the tall stems. Need to take the machete out. My lawnmower. Well, I haven't been lawn mowing because it's not growing, but my lawnmower is one of those push-type reel lawnmowers, and it doesn't take off these tall stems, so I need to go after it with machete. Anyway, here I have a cantaloupe, marigold, and then whatever those are. I'm not a flower guy. These are kohlrabi. I'll show you the kohlrabi that's ready. This guy's ready. You eat the stem. It's kind of swells up into kind of a large bulb. So I'll be harvesting that next time I have a salad, which will probably be tomorrow. You can see a little cabbage worm damage. I dusted them, but I've been away. We had a thunderstorm, so the dust is kind of washed off, so I need to redust them. I see a weed. So, see another weed. So, anyway, that's what's up with that. Composter, drum composter. Here, this is a very weedy path. Covered it with cardboard and then with, I don't know, I guess a combination of sod and grass blazing, whatever. Ran out of cardboard and just covered it with whatever. So, some weeds to pull there, but again, it's the path, so who really cares? Here, kale. I need to dust it again, but I should also cut some. It's mature enough to use. Mint. I'm actually planning to make a mojito one of these nights. I have a little 2-ounce bottle of rum in my refrigerator that I will be using. Cucumber, I know that for a fact. Right beside it in brown is some cilantro that didn't handle the heat well, and then parsley beyond it. And then that was my spinach bed that was a total fail. And then compost pile, which here in southwestern North Dakota, stuff just doesn't compost very quickly. It's so dry. And seriously, look at my lawn. There's another composter and my rain barrels. So, yeah, this is the backyard. Just to think, let me back up a little here. If you see, oops, I got almost backed into my neighbor's trailer here. If you see those two stumps, the garden was between that out to about where it is now. That was the garden. Now, I measured it with measuring tape. It's about 30 feet this way and 19 feet wide. And that's not all there is to the garden. Oh no! Let's walk around, look at the south side of the garden, because there's no north garden. So we'll look at the south side and then we'll see where we're headed. And hey, if anybody has an elegant solution for the hose, let me know. Winter compost, that's going to get spread out front, and you'll see why here in a minute. And you can see my neighbor, who, by the way, watered this garden while I was gone for the last 2 weeks, so she's awesome. She has a well. I actually have a well too. I just don't have a pump to pump water out of it. But anyway, here, some stuff. That's my new arrangement because of the hose, the soaker hose, sorry. And then these marigolds are just suffering. I think next year this might get its own soaker hose, or I plant perennials here and say to hell with it. Can I say hell on a YouTube video? And then this was necessary. Originally the drain, not drain. Anyway, that, I'm drawing a blank. It's too late in the evening for me to think straight. That ended and just poured water over the side, and it ended up in the basement every time it rained. So I put on the downspout and this to take it away from the foundation, and winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's a hollyhock that came with the house. Some other plants in the back there came with the house, including hollyhocks. They're short because they're dry. You know, I water, but it's not enough. Dianthus in the front. Trying to figure out how I'm going to run the soaker hose to this. And to this is a bed my mother created. These are all plants she brought out from Pennsylvania, thinking they'd be suitable here. Varying levels of success, but it's there. Those cool little bug stepping stones actually came. You see my sidewalk just kind of ends randomly. I think there were plans to run a city sidewalk up right at the end of that, but that never happened. So somebody put those bug-type stepping stones out front of that out to the street. They were overgrown with grass, but my parents and I rescued them, and I have repurposed them in my garden. This tree, I think I said before I thought it was dying. I don't know if it grew better roots or what, but it seems to be figuring out what's going on with its life. So, good news. Still doesn't look as awesome as that one that, grew up naturally, but whatevs. And let's take a look at the front garden. And this is why I think I have a soil issue. Whoops, low battery. Okay, who cares? These beans were the first beans I planted. I remember what they looked like out back. I don't think they have enough nutrition out here. So I have some mineral dust I'm going to mix into the soil. I did mix some leaves in last year, but I don't think it was enough. I may need to get some chemical fertilizer. So, yeah, kind of sad looking. Some flowers. These are kind of cool flowers. I like these actually a lot. Can't remember what they're called. I didn't keep the card for any of my plants this year. I would have. Aren't they cool? Kind of cool looking? So these are supposed to spread, but they haven't. Just sad. I even staked, like where the base of the plant was, so I'd make sure I watered that. And then some chives that have come up at random, and beyond that, the original chives that I planted here. And then across the way, another watermelon, either a cucumber or cantaloupe, And then some petunias that are supposed to spread to about 6 feet wide and clearly have not. So again, I think the soil is crap. True story. I just waved at a neighbor. Sorry about the jerk of the camera. True story. All of this here, this was a bed of lilacs that the previous owner ripped out. So I think the lilacs may have actually depleted the soil. And that's another reason why I want to put something in it. I mean, look at those zucchini. Planted the exact same day as the zucchini out back. And look how stunted they are. So, I think, again, it's the soil. One disappointment, which I don't blame myself for. This is a radish. I have not had good luck with radishes. Most of them didn't even come up. I mean, I had a line of radishes here that I planted all along this. Two of them came up. I had a line of radishes out back, so I know it's not just a soil thing, and they didn't come up either. So I don't know what's up. Maybe I got a bad batch of radishes or something, but I'm going to mix some mineral dust into that this fall, and maybe it'll save it. There's my nice neighbor's house. See, she's close, and there's my house. So, yeah, one thing I discovered today, I haven't noticed before. We'll see. Oh, there's one of the little offenders. Haven't had this trouble before. Yellow jackets moving into that crack. Now, the steps are actually not part of the house, so that's not a problem with the house. But if the yellow jackets are going into that, that will be a problem in the house. So I've got to figure out how to kill them, and I'm going to have to seal that so more yellow jackets don't decide to make a home there. A little disappointing. Another thing I noticed, I need to repair some of my paint. It's just been damaged by weather. You know, it happens. My fantasy house is going to have all this clad with metal, but this isn't fantasy house. This is a real house, so I've got to scrape and paint. It is what it is. But a lot of my paint, like up there, is holding pretty well. So for the most part, my paint job did well. It's just a few spots. There's some caulking I need to fix. Just a few spots I need to fix. I think about 2 or 3 hours will deal with it. So get that done before winter. These were, whoops, I almost tripped over that plant right there. Well, I did trip over that plant right there and staggered backwards. Those hollyhocks are a nice dark red. I think I missed most of their blossoming while I was in Bismarck, but you know, it is what it is. Here, north side of my house, let's see. Nothing exciting here. I've always thought it'd be a cool place for plants that don't like bright light, but I've never planted them. Air conditioner in my bedroom window. That's actually a whole house fan, and it's designed to exhaust air from a house. It's the second largest. The very largest wouldn't fit in my house, so I got the second largest. Does a very good job. I mean, that makes the house very comfortable, as long as it has comfortable air to pull in. What they recommend is putting it up in an attic to exhaust air, but as you can see, I don't really have an attic, so you know, 672 square foot house, what are you gonna do? So yeah, pretty happy with all that. So, and you can see, yes, I have roof problems in one part of my house, but overall it's in good shape. That's the part that has problems, but not right there. It's on the west side, and hopefully I will deal with that next summer. So anyway, I hope this was interesting, hope it was useful. Alright, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.